The biggest mistake sales professionals make in any industry, and y'all, by the way, this is the biggest offender. The biggest mistake that we make, we do all the talking. We do not ask enough questions. If we could just get good at asking good questions, we would see our sales results catapult to the next level. And what do I mean by this? Every time you're sitting in front of a prospective referral source, if you are speaking more than 30% of the time, that sales call is not going as well as it should. Your intended audience, your target, should be doing 70% of the speaking. Now, they might not be a talkative person. That's okay. You need to be a great interviewer. You need to learn how to ask the proper questions. And asking open-ended questions is by far better than asking yes-no questions. But even if you ask a yes-no question, you can always dig a little deeper. What do I mean by this? If you ever ask a yes-no question and the person didn't give you an elaborate answer, you could always follow up with, wow, that is so interesting. Can you explain more? And then shut up and listen. And then find ways to nod, to show that you are curious, and be like, wow, how could you tell that to me in a way that I could explain it to XYZ, my next home buyer, or my colleague at the office? What you want to do is you want to keep that person talking. What you're looking for is you're looking for ways that you can build rapport. You're looking for opportunities that you can bring value. But most importantly, you're giving them the opportunity to speak, because it's been proven that the person who is dominating the conversation is the person who feels like they're in charge, who is also the person who thinks that this meeting went fantastic. And your job on most of your sales meetings and sales calls is to leave with that person feeling like that was worth their time. Asking open-ended questions and getting the other person to speak will allow you to leave that meeting giving them that type of feeling of empowerment, of they were in control, of they now like you because you let them speak. When I'm thinking of specific open-ended questions, I like to go into it almost like I was business planning for myself, and I think of a SWOT analysis. Because when I business plan for myself, every single year we look at a SWOT analysis. SWOT, S-W-O-T, stands for strengths, weakness, opportunities, and threats. If I needed a reason to try to ask questions of my intended audience, I could think SWOT. And I could ask, let's say it's a realtor I'm sitting in front of, and the letter is S for strengths. I could ask them, what do you think you do really well as a real estate agent in our market? Like, what's something that separates you from the rest of the competition? Then I shut up and listen. I get to the letter W, weakness. Hey, what's one area that you wished your business was better? I shut up, I listen, I take notes. Opportunity comes up, right? That's the O in SWOT. Hey, what excites you about the upcoming year? What excites you about today's current market? I shut up, I listen, I take notes. You see where I'm going with this? And then comes the T, threats. Well, hey, what worries you? What keeps you up at night? That's an easy exercise that you can do on your next sales call with a potential referral source. Doesn't have to be a realtor. You could do builder, you could do financial advisor, you could do CPA, but just a nice exercise. When it comes to a prospective home buyer, why couldn't you also walk them through a home buying SWOT analysis? Strengths, I'm thinking positive. Hey, what excites you about going through this process? Shut up and listen. Weakness, what's an area of concern you have? Opportunity, what are you planning on doing with this home? And when I ask them, what do you plan on doing with this home? They can go so many different directions, right? They can talk about starting their family. They can talk about building all of this equity. You never know when you ask someone about the opportunity that this home or purchasing this home is going to bring them. On the T aspect, I could ask them, do you see anything that's going to get in the way of you being able to buy a house by your intended date? What I'm doing is I am allowing them to speak. I'm showing them that I care. I'm building rapport. My ultimate goal is that I want to make sure that I'm the person that they use, that I've asked all the right questions, and I've built proper rapport and trust, because it has been proven people will work with those that they know, they like, and they trust. Now let's think of some other open-ended questions that we could potentially ask somebody. I live in Florida. An open-ended question that I love to ask somebody is, where are you from originally? Because very few people in Florida, maybe North Carolina, Arizona, aren't from this area. I may ask somebody, what did you do prior to the real estate industry? I may ask somebody, what drove them to a career in real estate? Again, I'm looking for ways to get to know somebody. I'm looking for ways for them to do most of the speaking and me do most of the listening. But ultimately, as a sales professional, my job is to uncover pain points and then solve for them. If I uncover pain points and I solve for them, regardless of industry, regardless of who my client is, I know that the odds of me turning that prospective client, that prospective referral source, into an actual client or an actual referral source increases 5x if I am the one who is uncovering the pain and then solving for it. I do so by being the person who, when we meet, I do less of the talking, more of the question asking. When I'm asking questions, I want to ask open-ended questions that allow me to get to know them, that forces them to do the majority of the speaking, allows me to look for opportunities to seek out where there's potential pain points, so that when it is my turn to speak, I'm going to do two things. One, I'm going to look for a way to connect with them personally, and I've asked them enough questions that we should have a couple things in common where I can share a brief story about how I too was from that area, or I too struggle with whatever they share that they struggle with. And it's also my opportunity to then present, i.e. pitch, my services, my products, and how I'm going to be the best person with the best product to help them achieve their goal, whether it is to sell more homes or whether it is to purchase their first home.